जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय जय गोपी जन बल्लभा गिरिवर धारी जय गोपी जन बल्लभा गिरिवर धारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रवचकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से बोलो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की गंगा माई यमुना माई की तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री श्री गुरु एंड श्री गौरंगा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from chapter 14 of Canto 7, text 40th. Tat 40th 40 yeah. Tato Richayam Archayam Harim Kechit Samshraddhaya Saparyaya Upasata Upastapi Narthada Purusha Dusham Tato Archayam Harim Kechid Shamshraddhaya Saparyaya Upasata Upasatapi Narthada Purusha Dushim Tato Archayam Harim Kechid Shamshraddhaya Saparyaya Upasaya Upasatapi Narthada Purusha Dusham Tato Archayam Harim Kechid Shamshraddhaya Saparyaya Upasata Upasatapi Narthada Purusha Dusham Tato Archayam Harim Kechid Dostundaya Saparyaya Upasata Upasatapi Narthada Purusha Dusham Tato Archayam Harim Kechid Samshraddhaya Saparyaya Upasata Upastapi Narthada Purusha Dusham Tato Archayam Harim Kechid Samshraddhaya Saparyaya Upasata Upastapi Narthada Purusha Dushim Tato Archayam Harim Kechid Shamshraddhaya Saparyaya Upasata Upastapi Narthada Purusha Dushim. Ladies. Tato Archayam Harim Kechid Shamshraddhaya Saparyaya Anyone online? Tata, thereafter. Archayam, the deity. Harim, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The form of the Lord being identical with the Lord. Kechid, someone. Samshraddhaya, with great faith. Saparyaya, and with the required paraphernalia. Upasate, worships. Upasta api, although worshipping the deity with faith and regularity. Na, not. Arthada, beneficial. Purusha dusham, for those who are envious of Lord Viṣṇu and his devotees. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhaycharan Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sometimes a neophyte devotee offers all the paraphernalia for worshipping the Lord, and he factually worships the Lord as the deity. But because he is envious of the authorized devotees of Lord Viṣṇu, the Lord is never satisfied with his devotional service. Purport. The deity worship is especially meant for purifying the neophyte devotees. Actually, however, preaching is more important. In Bhagavad Gita 18:69 it is said, nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priya krittama. If one wants to be recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he must preach the glories of the Lord. One who worships the deity must therefore be extremely respectful to preachers. Otherwise, simply worshipping the deity will keep one in the lower stage of devotion. Om Ajnantimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Gurau Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamsya. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapte Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vayavicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pricharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I offer my obeisances to all of you so that we can together understand and read these beautiful Bhakti Vedanta purports. So I'll repeat the translation once more so you can chant along with me. Sometimes a neophyte devotee offers all paraphernalia for worshipping the Lord. And he factually worships the Lord as the deity. But because he is envious of the authorized devotees of Lord Viṣṇu, the Lord is never satisfied with his devotional service. So it appears that, those who are on the altar who are worshipping the deities are considered the highest, the most elevated, they are Brahman initiated. But if the pujaris, they are envious of the authorized devotees of Lord, the Lord is never satisfied. Even though you may dress Radha Girdhari with the best of jewels and dress and garlands and everything, but if you are envious towards the Lord, then it is said that the Lord is never satisfied. We may have the ability to dress very nicely, we may have the ability to offer Aarti in a very hypnotic way, with the chamara and the Aarti and everything, and others who are looking, they may wonder, wow, so beautifully he or she is worshipping. But if in the heart there is envy, then Srimad Bhagavatam says that the Lord is never satisfied with that devotional service. But on the contrary, if somebody is imperfect, in some way, maybe not able to hypnotically fly the chamara in the air, but if one has friendship for all the devotees and is non-envious, then the Lord is very pleased. So, we see in this material world that everyone is envious of someone else. And before we jump into this, I also want to see the purport here. So Prabhupada says that deity worship is especially meant for purifying the neophyte devotees. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions that our spiritual life runs on two tracks. One is the Pancharatrika Vidhi, which is deity worship, and second is Bhagavad Dharma, which includes hearing and chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And both are important. And then Prabhupada says, however, preaching is more important, he says, because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Na cha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priya krittama. If one wants to be recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he must preach the glories of the Lord. One who worships the deity must therefore be extremely respectful to preachers. And many times the people who worship the deities, they are also preachers, you know. So it's like symbiotic, they feed into each other. When they are doing deity worship, it inspires them to preach, and when they are inspired to preach, they do deity worship, right? It supplements also at the same time. One who worships the deity must therefore be extremely respectful to preachers. Otherwise, simply worshipping the deity will keep one in the lower stage of devotion. And many times it is also said, if we are worshipping the deities nicely, dressing them nicely, then those who come and see the deities, then that is also preaching. You know, if the temple hall is clean, if the altar is clean, so we say cleanliness is next to godliness, so that is also a form of preaching. So even deity worship is a form of preaching, especially those who come to the temple, visit and worship the deity. So that is considered preaching also. So I just wanted to focus on this purport. When I read this translation, I was thinking we should focus on enviousness, because that is the root cause of taking us away from Krishna, and the root cause where the Lord is not satisfied with our devotional service. So we'll see how we are envious. And in this material world, we see that everyone is envious of someone else. And even in spiritual circles, even in religious life, we see that one devotee who has advanced spiritually in spiritual activities, then other devotees become envious of them. And the reason why one becomes envious is because of designations of the body. You know, because I want more fame, I want more attention. So, but a devotee is never envious of anyone. Even his enemy, the devotee, is never envious of the devotee, because the devotee knows that the Lord is the supreme protector. And he always thinks that what harm can an enemy do to us? So a devotee is confident about his protection, because the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamiham. That to the degree we surrender to Krishna, to that degree Krishna will reciprocate with us. You know, if we are engaged in politics, in gossiping, in criticizing the devotees, we are dedicating our time in all those activities, then Krishna will say, okay, you are interested in this, you do that. Because that is the degree to which we are surrendering to the Lord. And if we are more dedicated towards our own sadhana, towards serving the devotees, towards not hearing blasphemy, towards always glorifying the Lord, then Krishna will reciprocate us in that way. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said in one of the cantos, 9th canto, 11th chapter, 23 verse, that anyone who orally receives the narrations concerning the characteristics of the Lord, here specifically it is about Lord Ramachandra, pastime, they said, will ultimately be freed from the disease of envy and thus be liberated from the bondage of fruitive activities. So here one of the solutions given in Srimad Bhagavatam to get free of envy is to hear and chant the pastimes of the Lord to free us from the disease of envy. And see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says in one of the bhajans, Enechi aushadhi maya nashi baro lagi, Hari nama mahamantra lao tumi lagi. So this is a medicine. Envy is a disease. Just like a diseased person, somebody who has jaundice, they drink sugar or sugarcane juice, they cannot taste it. Similarly, enviousness is the disease. If we have that disease, then what happens is the Lord is never satisfied. And if the Lord is never satisfied, then how can we be satisfied? Because Lord is sitting as a Paramatma in the heart. It is like the root of the tree. If you don't water the root, how will the leaves, how will the fruits be happy? We just like see the plumeria tree outside. It was not watered properly, I think, in last year or somebody was telling me. And this year the leaves are not very good. So Lord is like that. So if we worship the Lord, then the disease of envy, enechi aushadhi. So this is a medicine. Enechi aushadhi maya nasi baral. This is the medicine of maya, of enviousness. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought to us this medicine of maya, of enviousness to us. Harinam Mahamantra lao tumi mangi. This is the Harinam Mahamantra that has been given to us. It is the prime benediction for human society at large. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that your qualification for receiving and understanding this knowledge, spiritual knowledge, is that you are not enviousness of me. Krishna is telling to Arjuna. That is why I am telling, because you are my friend and you are my devotee. And that is the foremost and the essence of the conditioned state of life. So it is the disease of envy. Envy is springing from the fountain of our heart because of our enviousness towards Krishna. Srila Prabhupada often explains that the reason we came from the spiritual world to here is because of enviousness. So that is the single most quality that actually got us down here into this material world. And we understand that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. We say Bhoktaram Yagyatapsam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. But if we accept this, that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, supreme proprietor, then we will have no envy. Because we are all wanting to claim the proprietorship of God. What belongs to God. Although these planets, these earth, plants, trees, everything belong to Krishna. Not only that, even our own bodies belong to Krishna. And not only our bodies, our abilities, whatever we have, we can do nice kirtan, we can speak nicely, we can do our services, we have bodily strength. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, of the intelligent I am the intelligence. And I am the ability who are able to do something. So even if you have some academic qualifications, you may be PhD, that is not yours. That is not yours. If you claim them to be yours, that is expression of envy that belongs to Krishna. So Krishna says that whatever strength you have, you do anything, that strength is the property of Krishna. Bhoktaram Yagyatapsam Sarvalok Maheshwaram. And when we try to take credit of anything we do, that is a show of our enviousness towards God. So, because all the credit deserves to Krishna, because it's all His. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Aham sarvasya prabhava matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhav samanvita. So everything is emanating from Krishna, that we should understand. And that is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That when we have that consciousness, that all my abilities, all my intelligence, everything, not even my wealth, not even my beauty, not even my prestige, nothing belongs to me, my dear Lord. It all belongs to you. In that consciousness, we can actually chant the holy names of Krishna. And that is when we are not envious to Krishna. And if we are envious to the Lord, then we are not going to we are going to stop chanting because we want to chant our own name. Correct? When we are envious. We want to be the center. So in this world, as we see that in this world, everyone is envious of one another. And even in spiritual life, if we manifest some great quality in the spiritual circle, then also we become sometimes envious. And many times we see if some person is more successful than us, we see that in the heart of heart we are hoping that this person fall down from spiritual platform. So that people can see, oh, see how good I am. So that also happens. So if you see a poor man is not generally envious of a rich person, right? If somebody is at the same level, if somebody is doing the same thing, suppose I am cooking and somebody else is cooking, and they are doing little better, then I may get envious. But if I am not into kirtan, or giving class and somebody is giving this, then probably I won't be envious because they are not doing the same kind of service. So, but if a rich man, if he sees someone else is richer than him, then he becomes envious. A poor man won't be envious of a rich man. So many times this happens in spiritual circle also. For example, if somebody else gives a donation, more donation or doing something better, and then we may say, oh, he is motivated, it's all material. But when we do that same thing, we give donation or do something, it's very transcendental. It's the same activity, but our perception changes for ourselves and for others. And if someone can speak very nicely, give nice classes, treats better than us, then we think, oh, I cannot wait for this person to fall down. So, so everyone realizes that I am better. So, but yesterday it was so nice, we were all the brahmacharis, and I also got an opportunity. We were all reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita yesterday, Madhya Leela, very nice pastime of Govinda, the servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was sent by Ishwar Puri to serve Mahaprabhu. Although he was the god brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, still he said, I want to serve you, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So because it was discussed that Guru's instruction is the topmost. Because Ishwar Puri has instructed, so Govinda, you should go and serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was not envious. Govinda was not thinking, oh, I am the god brother. Why should I serve my god brother? I am not his disciple, or I am not junior to him. So I will not serve. So this is this is Chaitanya Charitamrita. It exemplifies how a devotee should behave. And we were discussing so nicely together. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mat chitta mad gata prana bodhayanta parasparam katyantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. That the devotees together talk about the Lord. Mat chitta mad gata prana bodhayanta. Everybody is discussing parasparam. Together they are discussing katyantasya mam nityam. They are discussing the pastime katha of the Lord. Tushyanti cha, they are all pleased and satisfied. Ramanti cha, they derive pleasure from that. We are all discussing. It was such a nice, I think 10 of us were there and everybody was taking a turn and reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. Otherwise, it's difficult to chant alone. When we get association, it's pretty easy to chant. There was no enviousness when we were reading. Everybody was encouraging each other and we were reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Chaitanya, who is the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Who wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita? Can you tell? Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj, right? He would spend every day 4 to 6 hours at the banks of Radhakund, at the foothill of Govardhan. And he would hear from Raghunath Das Goswami. Such an elevated soul. Lord Nityananda personally came physically, and blessed him. And he, at the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is paying obeisances to all the devotees of the Lord. Not only the senior devotees or the Parivrajakacharyas, but also to the devotee who have just started coming to the path of bhakti. Such a humble position. That is the cure to enviousness. Humility. We see in Mahabharata that Duryodhan was trying to humiliate Draupadi, right? In the Mahabharata, we see these are two parties, Kauravas and Pandavas. Apparently, both of them are doing the same activities. They are fighting with each other. But what is the consciousness? On one side, the Pandavas have the consciousness of worshipping the Lord, following the instructions of Krishna. On the other side, Duryodhana is also fighting. Arjuna is also fighting. If somebody looks out from outside without knowing them, they'll say, oh, nice, both are fighting. That's very good. But internally, Duryodhana has the consciousness of enviousness. He is envious of the Lord. He is trying to cheat. He is not even giving the fair share to his cousin brothers. So much envy. And his envy grew to such an extent that he wanted to demean and humiliate Draupadi, the wife of the Pandavas, to such an extent to trying to disrobe her. She was a nice lady. Draupadi, didn't do anything wrong. She was a nice lady. But the Kurus, these Duryodhan and his party, Karna and Dushyasan, they all saw her as a means that they can totally demean the Pandavas. They were thinking if we can put Draupadi in a very shameless condition, then we can, in such a devious way, we can shoot an arrow into the heart of the Pandavas. And to show that we have a superior position. And when all this was happening, they were trying to disrobe her, pulling her sari, she threw her arms into the air. And he was chanting, "Hey Krishna, hey Govinda." Generally in English language, when we say hey, it's not very respectful. Hey you. Right? It's not very respectful. But when Draupadi is chanting, "Hey Krishna," this hey means, "Oh my dear Lord." It's taking shelter of Krishna. That is the difference between this hey, this is a Sanskrit hey and English hey. You are my only shelter. In Pushti Marg they say, "Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama." You are my only shelter, my dear Krishna. So in the Mahabharata, the prayers of Draupadi are there. It's very beautiful prayer. It comes in the Sabha Parv. It's like, I'll chant that prayer, it's very beautiful. Govinda Dwarka Vasin Krishna Gopi Priya Jana Kaurava Paribhutam Mam Kim Na Janasi Keshava He Natha He Rama Natha Vrajnatha Artinashanam Kaira Varnava Bhagnam Muddarasva Janardhana Krishna Krishna Mahayogi Sarvatma Vishvatma Vishvabhavana Prapannam Pahi Govinda Kuru Madhe Vasidatam. So Draupadi is saying, "My dear Lord, you are the Lord of the gopis. I am also one of your gopi." The other name of Draupadi was Krishna. She was a gopi. And she is saying, "I am being submerged into this ocean of the Kurus. They are trying to humiliate me, demean me. He Nath, He Ramanath, Vrajnath, you are the remover of all the distresses of everybody. Please, Uddharasva Janardhana." Uddharasva means to please lift me up, to get me out of this ocean. Krishna Krishna Mahayogin, you are a great yogi. Vishvatma, Vishwa Bhavana. Prapanna means I take shelter of you, my dear Lord. Hey Govinda, Kuru Madhya Vasid. Within the Kurus I am getting submerged. Please help me, get me out of this ocean. Srila Prabhupada said that in this world, we make fallible soldiers our shelter. These are fallible soldiers. But we in the Bhakti Marg, we say, "My dear Lord, this is my urgent need. So, and exclusively, please, my dear Lord, please provide me shelter." So we are chanting the prayers, "Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu." That, my dear Lord, you are the ocean of mercy. Krishna Karuna Sindhu. And as we see the Pacific Ocean, so similarly the ocean of Krishna is bottomless and shoreless. It is infinite. You cannot limit it to some extent. You cannot gauge how deep it is, how broad it is. So that is Krishna's ocean of mercy. So when we take shelter of Krishna, and with a humble heart, if we can appreciate what has been given to us, then we can remove enviousness. So as we discussed, we become envy generally in two situations. When somebody does better than us, then we become envy. Or if we do better than others, then we become condescending to them. So both situation is envy. If somebody does better or we do better. Right? One way we disrespect them, other way we condescend them because we get arrogant. So enviousness is a double-edged sword.
What's the solution? Don't do anything at all.
Yeah, solution I will tell. So the solution is humility. So humility is not being cowardly. It's not an act of selfishness, but true humility is to have courage and confidence, not based on our ability, but on our connection to the divine grace of Krishna and to our Guru Parampara. So if we understand that there is power beyond my own, then we can, that we can overcome all these obstacles. So in that mood, we can become true well-wishers of others also. So it's not about, who is winning and who is losing. If we try to get into that envious or infinite vicious cycle, that, oh, I am doing better than them or they are doing better than. If we get into all those things, you will be in depression. So we come out of the cave of our false ego, that everything is about I, me and mine. So then we can conquer enviousness. So there is a nice example of a dragon and a king. Generally, if you have seen in the stories, there is a king and he has a dragon, and that dragon is protecting all these jewels and gold and beautiful ladies. Dragon can't really enjoy all those things, right? He's just sitting there, and it won't let anybody come near that. So similarly, anyone who is disconnected from Krishna, and from the own soul, I, me and mine, they will face the same problem. So the solution is humility, which is slaying the dragon of our heart and living in appreciation of others and appreciation of the power of Krishna. Then we can overcome this depression, arrogance, and enviousness. And then we can truly bring joy and happiness to ourselves and to others also. So Srimad Bhagavatam also tells in many places that how to extinguish envy. So great devotees, although they are not fallen, but they feel that they are fallen. They feel that they are envious. And it can only happen by the grace of Krishna. When we feel ourselves fallen, then we can access Krishna in that situation. So if you see Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they were living in Vrindavan. They were such elevated souls, but they would always feel that, we are fallen and we have that enviousness in our heart. They will always feel. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami would feel. Bhakti Vinod Thakur also, prays like this. That, oh my Lord, if you want to protect me, it is your will to protect me. If you want to kill me, destroy me. I am your servant. I don't have right to be chosen. Whatever you give, it is your mercy. I will accept it gratefully. If you want to give the world and take away everything away, I see no difference. I am simply your servant. And I'll act any way you please me. So that is the Bhagavad philosophy that Bhakti Vinod Thakur is giving us. So the solution is to hear and chant the glories of the Lord, because it is param drishtva nivartate. Because the glories of Lord are sweet and nectarian, and that they also purify our heart from the very core of enviousness. So there is no means more powerful, than hearing and chanting to remove this disease. Because it's the aushadhi. Enichi aushadhi maya nasi barolagi. And Srimad Bhagavatam explains all different forms of meditation. And nowadays, people are trying to practice different things, to get rid of depression or arrogance or enviousness. Some of these are like Kundalini, raising your Kundalinis or chakras. And there are different kinds of philosophies that are there. Mystic process. So these things can help us become powerful in controlling our senses and also controlling the facilities of material nature, but they cannot actually remove that enviousness from within our heart. They cannot extinguish the enviousness. If you see, there are great big yogis, they are also envious. There was some case where some yogis are fighting for some piece of, where they were meditating. There's so much of enviousness. The big yogis. Big yogis, not the small yogis. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I was giving an example of poor man is never envious of, a rich man. They are always poor. No, even poor man is not envious of very rich man. Very, very rich man, like, yeah. A rich man is envious of another rich man. A poor man may be envious of someone who is at the same level, little bit higher, but does. Yes, envious of Krishna. So Like, so if we talk about Prajalpa, talk nonsense with friends, then that we are feeding into the disease of enviousness. And if we give Krishna enjoyment, then by hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna in proper association, then little by little this disease of envy will be removed. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Bhagavati uttama shloke. Bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. So slowly and steadily, all the abhadras are all the contaminations. So enviousness is one of the biggest, contamination. So that will be removed by nityam bhagavata sevaya. Bhagavat as in the person as well as in the scripture Bhagavat. And these shlokas can establish devotion in our heart. And while we are hearing, we need to hear from the proper disciplic succession in parampara, then we can understand the real essence. And generally when we talk about offenses, then it is very much heinous to gossip about a person who are very dear to the Lord. Like first offense is blaspheming the devotees who have dedicated their life for spreading the holy names of the Lord. So we see in many spiritual movements, religious movements, things come apart when big persons in high spiritual position become envious of another because they are too much concerned with discussing management and other mundane things, and they forget to put Krishna in the center. So it is very important for those in management and other, engaging in big positions to not get caught up in mundane things, but also to keep Krishna in the center. So it was very nice, all of us are taking time to read together, to chant together, to dance together. So if we do not learn to love and trust one another on the basis of coming together, chanting and hearing, then there would be enviousness, there would be disintegration, there would be competition, and then Krishna conscious movement will be disturbed. Like Srila Prabhupada often says that nobody can break this movement from outside, only internally if there is no cooperation. Last instruction of Prabhupada was, please cooperate. If we cooperate with each other, don't spend time in gossiping or criticizing the faults of others, then we can remove the disease of envy from our heart, become dear to Krishna. At the same time, we can attain the highest platform of love for Krishna. Man mana bhavmat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskurum mam evashyasi satyam te pratijani prayosi. Krishna is not saying be envious of me, be envious. Krishna is saying man mana, think about me. Bhavmat bhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskar, pay obeisances to me. Anything outside of that is very dangerous. So most of the activities, and then what will happen? Krishna says, then you will come to me for sure. Asamshaya, without any doubt you will come to me. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanaram vijaya aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayashyami ma shucha. Do not worry, my dear. Do not worry. I will take care of you. I will protect you, Krishna is saying. And many times we become envious when we don't have something. But in the scriptures, we see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kola Vecha Sridhar. He was just a banana leaf seller. He didn't have anything. He had thousands of reasons to be envious of other devotees or other people who had a lot of things, materially very qualified or spiritually very advanced. But Kola Vecha Sridhar, people didn't even knew his name is Sridhar. He was just selling banana leaves. Kola means Kela means banana, and Vecha means he's seller, banana leaf seller. But he said, I do not see any difference between a king living in a palace or a bird flying in the sky, because both are trying to enjoy their senses. And the bird is having feathers to protect, from cold, and living in a nest. I do not see any difference, my dear Lord. I am very happy with whatever I have. He had a thatched hut which was leaking water in the monsoon season. He had a broken pot. From the same pot, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu drank water. Can you imagine? And he was crying. And he asked, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, ask me for any benediction. He said, my dear Lord, I do not want anything. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundar. I do not want anything. I just want to see this beautiful form of yours, and that you come every day to me and you negotiate with me the price of what I'm selling of the banana leaves. It was so much ecstasy for him. So there is no material qualification or disqualification for devotional service. If we think this thing that is the root cause of envy, we can get rid of envy. We'll be happy in our Krishna consciousness. So with this prayer in the heart, with folded palms, let us pray to Shri Shri Radha Giridhari that please remove this disease of envy so that we may always take shelter and chant His holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Mike? Yeah.
As I began my editing career, I was sometimes puzzled by how probably using the word envious. I was looking for, I couldn't find the, but there's somewhere in the Krishna book or somewhere something that one should not be envious even of an ant.
Of an ant?
Of an ant. So why should I be envious of an ant? What does an ant have that I want? And then I looked up the word envious in the, Oxford English Dictionary. Oxford English, have you ever seen it? It's huge.
Yes.
You know, it's like encyclopedic. And I found that unlike in modern American English, where you usually don't find it, it may be there as in an obsolete use or something. Envious in English, which is what Prabhupada learned, not American English, right, can also mean just to hate someone. You don't want anything they want. You just hate them. And that's how you can be envious of an ant. By just, like kids, searching out the ants to step on them. You know what I mean? So it's important to realize that as you read Prabhupada's book, envy and envious, it was broader than just wanting someone that someone wants, being jealous of someone. It certainly covers that, and Prabhupada, that's. But it also means to bear malice toward, for whatever reason. And so that, that also has to be expunged from the heart, because a lot of times envy, in that sense, is completely divorced from any desire to have what the person has. You just hate the person for one reason or another.
That is less severe than jealousy, right? That is a little subdued version of...
Jealous is the usual synonym for envy. Yeah. If you're envious of someone, you're jealous of something like that.
Got it.
But there's another meaning of envy that has nothing to do with jealousy. It just means bearing malice.
Bearing malice.
Politics or whatever, So that's another symptom of ignorance and action.
And we saw the example of Tujamani Prabhu was sharing that somebody committed suicide in UCSD because they had some envy towards some political party, right? They couldn't bear that. Maybe the red fruit, that is malice. I mean, it can take away.
Probably this means that so desolate and in despair for seeing that life has become so unbearable that they can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Usually that's self-envy.
So dangerous, not only for others, but for ourselves. Yes, Govardhan Prabhu.
Thank you for the class, Gaura Keshava. You brought out a lot of good points. And envy is a very subtle thing, I heard that in the good old ISKCON days, they would read the book scores, individual scores, like Sareshwar Prabhu would distribute, and sometimes the other devotees that would distribute books that wouldn't, do so well, they would kind of feel bad. So then they started reading, combined. So I think that was a good solution, So yeah, sometimes we can, in a very subtle way, envy someone, There's a saying that everyone wants you to do good, but not better than them. They wish you well, but not,
Then we know what happens. Krishna says he's not satisfied with the devotional service. That is the whole point of this purport, that the Lord is never satisfied if one is envious of authorized devotees.
That's the continuation of that point. Vijay Prabhu, when he was here, told this story because he has so many stories that he knows. People send him all the stories, plus what he personally knows. So back in the day, the 70s, there was tremendous competition to do, number one book distributor in the temple or in the country, whatever it is, So he tells the story of two devotees who were close, they were always competing. So one devotee was he was making a sale in the airport, and the other devotee was behind the devotee, trying to tell the person not to take the book. That's how far it got.
Oh my God!
That's a perfect example of the danger of the personal competition.
See, it is right in spiritual circles that is there. Enviousness is there.
They were saying, I think Vijay was saying that there were many devotees going out distributing books, and they were using different cars. So one party had one car, the other party had another car. So apparently one of the parties they punctured the tire in one of the cars, the other cars.
Yeah, this is not a healthy competition.
So in this way,
competition is good.
They get a good head start,
Yeah.
because the Sankirtan devotees will be stuck at the temple.
Yeah. There is two kinds of competition. One is healthy competition and one is unhealthy competition. So unhealthy competition has the component of envy in that. Healthy competition is I support you, Even if your car is not working, I take you in my car, I support you. So that is healthy competition, that we are pleased by other success. And when we are happy when somebody is successful, then we get the same, blessings and mercy that is given to that person. And we think that because of Krishna's blessings and grace, he is empowered to do, so much. So when we think like that, then Krishna also empowers us at the same time. Yes, Chad Prabhu. Thank you for sharing, Balram Prabhu and Govardhan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. We've been talking a little bit about envy, but how does one foster humility? What are some good ways to do that?
Yeah, so to foster humility, I shared a few points here. For humility, yeah, you can listen to the temple president, what he's saying. And we should think that whatever we are doing, whatever services we are doing, we think that there is a power beyond my own that is helping me. It's not my ability. And if there are any obstacles, then Krishna will help me to remove that obstacle. So in that mood, we are doing, and if somebody is successful, we become the true well-wisher. We don't try to compete. If somebody got something, then I also want to do that thing, or I want to be the best. So it's not about competition of winning or losing. How can that devotee do more than me or less than me? So when we come out of that cave of I, me and mine, that is when we gave the example of the dragon and the king, So humility is just like fostering and nourishing that dragon within us. So slaying that dragon is like, humility. That we appreciate. So the cause, the way you can develop humility is appreciate others. Because when you are appreciating others, you're not appreciating yourself. Right? Appreciate others and try to give joy to others, do some service, like Balram Prabhu was saying, that was service, we can do some services. So these are the two things if we do, appreciate others and do some service, that will bring us humility.
Are there any other ways?
Other ways is chanting the names of the Lord, in a humble state. Like, have you read Sikshashtakam, 8 prayers of Mahaprabhu? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi sunichena taroreva saishnu. So that it talks about humility, being, humble than a blade of grass. And only in that consciousness we can chant the holy names of the Lord. So to be humble is not to believe that I can do everything, but believe in the power and grace of Krishna, depending on Krishna, taking shelter of Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, taking the shelter of Krishna. and think that whatever strength I have got, whatever abilities I have got, it is because of the Lord only that I have got. So yes, Dravida Prabhu wants to speak something.
There's this whole phrase Prabhupada uses often as to how one should serve the Guru. Menial service, menial service.
Yes.
And Krishna showed that himself, amazingly. I mean, who could be more glorious than him? But he was out there, with Sudama, trying to get the wood, and obviously he arranged for the storm.
Yeah.
He's in charge of that. So he wanted, to show the standard, even, to be ready to do all this menial service.
Yes.
Now, to someone who you feel, you're feeling that there's some envy growing, then you can search out a way to do menial service for that person and glorify them, to other devotees, and that'll cut it at the root. I remember one incident, 1975. I got to this was like part of the festival of the opening of the Krishna Balaram temple. It began in Mayapur. We have the Mayapur Vrindavan festival. That's what it was. Everyone go. So after the Mayapur leg, instead of going to Vrindavan right away, we went to Hyderabad because Prabhupada was going to have a program there. So it's a train ride. It's a long train ride. And I was with one devotee. He was, at that time, he was a well-known book distributor. I was pretty neophyte. I'm still neophyte, but that was like 2 years. So I was saying something negative about a devotee. It wasn't like a super blasphemy or something, but it was just not positive. And he stopped me. He stopped me. Stop that. Don't speak like that. You should always try to find a way to glorify. You see, and this will cure you of the tendency to criticize.
Wow. Yes.
Like that. And I noticed this especially in Radhanath Swami. I remember I had some experience of classes a class that he gave. This is in Los Angeles. I don't know, late '90s, early 2000s. And he was in LA. He was giving class, and I was in the class. And one of his main disciples, who had joined in Pakistan, what's the main city there? Dhaka, I think. And he was a disciple of Kirtananda Swami, but he got reinitiated by Radhanath Swami. And he was older man, and he was in Bombay, and he would take care of the devotees. He was always seeing the brahmacharis that they had what they need because they had a big Sankirtan party. And he was always singing songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he had passed away, and he spent 2 hours, glorifying his devotee there. And that wasn't the only place. Wherever he went, he was doing that, I heard, And it's funny because this was my poetry writing phase, and I was working on a verse. I said, oh, that just describes this devotee like anything. And later on, I happened to be in Vrindavan in Kartik, and he was going to have the ceremony where you put the ashes in the moon and everything. I wasn't able to attend because we had BBT meetings. But I said, here's a verse that I was writing at that time, and as I finished it, I said, this describes this devotee. I think his name is Abhiram Thakur. And so if you could chant it, make it part of the ceremony. So he agreed, I gave it to him. So I'll give you the verse. It's this beautiful verse from the Pajavali, included in the Pajavali. Aho bir nakalaya viduyate, sudha sudhara molodam pade pade. Dine dine chandana chandra shitalam, yasho yashora tanaya sigiyate. Because at every step they drink a flood of wondrous nectar sweet, whose cooling power sandal paste enhanced with camphor can't defeat. They feel as if the raging blaze of Kali's days had ne'er begun. How blessed are they who fill their days with praise of Shri Yashoda's son. And that was describing this devotee who was always praising Krishna and helping all the devotees, So he's a very good, Radhanath Swami is a very good example. I've heard him in other classes, give extended glorification of devotees. It's a very powerful process. Lord Krishna is very pleased with that.
Thank you, Dravida Prabhu. So very, very nicely, Prabhu. So Dravida Prabhu is in devotional life for more than 50 years, and he was saying that he's just a neophyte devotee. So that is the... then what is our position, imagine? Nothing. So if he's thinking himself neophyte, then what should we think ourselves? So that's a perfect example, Prabhuji is here with us exemplifying. So, and appreciation, and so yeah. So that's the real example of how to be humble. You got it, Prabhu? Or yeah, that's all good. Okay, thank you. Thanks to Dravida Prabhu for sharing that through his example, not just words. He is Acharya through his character and behavior he's teaching us. I forgot to ask you. Yeah. But we heard a voice that is like sound of the flute only in form of instructions. Okay. Anyone else? Hare Krishna. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thai Gaura Premanande.